You. Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Can I please get a roll call, please?
Jeff Sabia.
Hello.
Don Woodward.
Here.
Amy Newton.
Here.
Mark Sherwood. Shauna Monthorn.
Here.
Bree Woodworth. Here. Paula Kane.
Here.
Marianne Springer. Here. And Alyssa.
She's
is-
excused. Yep, if everyone can stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We just have the public meeting minutes from last meeting to approve first. So happy this tab thing's fixed.
Make a motion to approve the October 16th public meeting minutes.
Thank you, Marianne. Do I have a second? And I have a second by Bree. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstain. 2 extensions. All right. Moving on, student, staff, family share. Who do we have
We
today?
have Principal Yasek from Sandown North, who's going to be talking to us about why the little people are in this space with us tonight. So Laura, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
I actually want to start by saying I'm beginning my 3rd year as principal at Sandown North Elementary School. And since I have started there, I have been very fortunate and just really feel honored to have staff that embrace ideas and or share new ideas with me around really a core belief at Sandown North that we are one community and one school. And so you've seen that in previous presentations when I brought students and families here with our news team, with our newspaper, with our One Book, One School. And so I'm just super excited to bring Mrs. Heilbaum up here with 3 of our students tonight to share about just another opportunity for our school to come together. And again, that core belief that we are a really great community with opportunities to just connect. So with further ado, I'm going to ask the students and Mrs. Heilbaum to come up.
Welcome, guys.
You guys have to introduce yourselves, okay?
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Teitelbaum. I'm a teacher at Sandown North Elementary School. And when I was in elementary school many years ago, we had this wonderful program called We Deliver. And I brought this idea to Laura with a few other staff members, Samantha Houlihan, and Amy DeFeo wrapped around with me with this idea. And what it is a news communities, a mail system at our elementary school. And what's really awesome about this is that so it's a mail system that allows kiddos to write letters to staff members, to students within our school building. So if you come to Sandown North, one thing that you'll notice is that we have these really cool mailboxes outside every classroom or every office space. And these mailboxes are where our students are going to be able to deliver mail to other students or other staff members within our building. And how we are doing that is, first off, we're giving each hallway within our community a address. So as a community ourselves, we wanted to really highlight some of our main ideals and what we really want Sandown North to be about. So with that, we then gave each hallway some choices. So this was with their input. So we have one hallway, which is Friendship Street. We have one hallway, which is Teamwork Alley, one hallway, which is Creative Road, and one hallway, which is Resilient Way, which are all things that we feel like is really important as a community and as learners at Sandown North Elementary School. So we're excited that they each get to be highlighted. So each classroom will have their classroom number So for example, I'm room 134 and I'm in Teamwork Alley. So if a kid wanted to write to me, they would write to Mrs. Teitelbaum at 134 Teamwork Alley at Sandown, New Hampshire. And how this is going to work from there is we have a lovely big mailbox in our office that students can write their letters and stamp them, and then they will place them in our mailbox, and then again, they can write to whoever it is that they want. We're also really excited because we're going to be incorporating things like stamp contests, so kids can get really creative with it, and then we can actually personalize the stamps just to add in a little bit more community pieces there. From there, we get to also have our jobs, and this is where these amazing students are coming into play. Because we need their help, because this really is a community role and it's really something that we all want every student to possibly be a part of. So we have a number of different jobs. I believe it's 10 students altogether that we're hiring, and we're doing multiple rotations with this. So we have a postmaster who's going to be helping with training everybody. They're going to be helping filling in if people are absent. We have facers who are going to be taking the mail, and they're going to actually be facing it so that our cancelers and checkers of the mail can then make sure that everything's has a stamp and everything's addressed correctly. Then we're going to have sorters who are going to sort the mail to their different classrooms. And then the letter carriers are obviously going to be the ones who carry those letters and deliver them out once a week. And that's where these friends come in, because these are some of our hired employees that we have. Not paid, paid with our love and affection for helping us out with this. But I think this would be a really great time to ask our friends to maybe introduce themselves, and they can tell us a little bit about why you guys are interested in applying for this position. So Luca, do you want to start?
Like Jackson. Hi, my name is Jackson. I want to,
What grade are you in, Jackson?
third grade
Third grade. Why did you want to apply for this job?
because I want to help people and be kind. So, yeah.
Perfect. Luca, what about you?
My name is Luca and I'm in third grade, and I wanted to be postmaster because I want to become more responsible.
Awesome. Very nice.
My name is Eliana, and I'm in third grade. And I wanted to be the face of Upper because I want people to be able to get their mail to the right classrooms.
Perfect.
My name's Addison, and I'm in first grade. I wanted to be the facer so that everybody would know what classrooms they could go to.
Very nice. So one thing about these jobs is that we did open it up for first through fifth grade because we wanted this to truly be a community. And we felt that it was something that we truly could have all grades be a part of this and have that joy of applying for a job. So we rolled this out as a whole school meeting, and with it, they did have to fill out a job application for the first time. We were really excited. We had over 90 students apply, which is over 27% of our population actually applied for this job. And it was a quick turnaround. It was a week that they had. So it was pretty impressive that we had 90 students who were interested and got it in to us. And so from that, the team, so myself, Ms. Yasek, Ms. Diffio, Ms. Esposito, and Ms. Houlihan, who were all working together to kind of support this, we decided on rotations to really give as many students as possible a chance to do this year because there was so much interest and so much excitement around it. So, what was it like to fill out that job application? Anybody want to go first? Jackson?
I was very excited.
Excited.
Yeah.
Addison?
I don't.
You don't know? Fair. What about you, Luca?
It was really exciting, and I was really happy that came.
Yeah. Ellie?
I felt nervous about the job.
Fair enough. I was pretty nervous too. All right. So now that all of these friends have now all been chosen for their job, Luke is a little bit different. He's going to be in our next round. He gets to be postmaster, but he already knows that. But we have Jackson, who's going to be a letter carrier. We have Addison, who's going to be a facer. We have Eliana, who's going to be a facer too, right? All right, got it. So can you guys tell us, now that you know your job, what do you think, or what will you be doing? Do you know what you'll be doing? I know I kind of talked about it, but what are you going to be doing? Jackson, go ahead.
I'm the letter carrier. I will bring letters to each mailboxes.
Awesome.
I'm the facer and I will face the cards the right way.
Do you want to share?
I'm the facer and I'm gonna face the cards the right way.
Perfect. Luca?
I'm the postmaster and I will substitute for absent people. Also, I will train new employees and pick up mail from the central, which is the office, and bring it to the sorting area. And also, I will help the sort mail.
Perfect. Right. And then, so part of this is that the students have a template that they can write their letters on, and it's a half sheet of paper that they fold, and they have those stamps. And each of these guys have actually already written their first letter that's going to be mailed. So do you want to share with us your first letter writing experience? Eliana, do you want to talk about yours?
I thought it was fun because writing is my favorite subject, and it's probably going to be very fun to write to my friends.
Awesome. What? Do you want to share about your letter?
Yeah. I was really excited about it when we were gonna start that. It was really exciting, so I just really wanted to apply, and this is mine.
Jackson?
I was like really excited in the first time, but after like we were going down to the office to do the thing, me and the girl were so excited.
You're so excited? Yeah. It was really exciting. And that's kind of it. So please, next time you're in, come in. We'll have letter writing available for everybody in the office. So please send a letter to anybody, staff or student.
I wrote my first letter as well. It was really exciting. I can't wait for the student to get it.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and it's such a good step for you guys to do that application, but then also to come here and speak to all of us. That's really great. There's a couple members that have some questions. Mr. Sherwood's gonna go first.
I will just start off by saying how things have changed. When we were your age and we'd write letters to our friends, we'd get in trouble for passing in the classroom. Ask your parents about that. It needs some context, but ask them. You had all mentioned that you were nervous trying out or writing your application and trying out. If you were nervous about doing it, why did you do it? Anybody can answer.
What if they're nervous?
Okay.
What if they're nervous?
Or not. That's fine too.
I think I have one.
You wanna say?
Wait, so what's the question?
If you were nervous, you guys said that you were excited and nervous to try out and apply for these jobs. If you were nervous and excited about it, why did you do it?
Because you were like so excited and we took deep breaths and after that, like, yeah, just do it.
That's a great coping mechanism. Did you have something?
Because I like trying new things.
Good attitude, both of you.
Well done.
Good.
I really wanted to apply for it because I thought it is gonna be really exciting.
Does anybody else from the board have anything that they wanna say at this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Well, first of all, like the first jobs I had in school were like washing tables and desks or washing the board or sharpening pencils. All types of things that were not half as exciting as what you guys are doing. I wish I could have had a job like your job. And I probably would have been nervous too, going to all those places, talking to all these people tonight, so. Good job, you're learning about jobs, and that's important.
Thank you.
So at my house, I get mail every day, the bill kind that nobody likes. But how frequently do you deliver the mail? Do you do it every day? Do you just do it once a week?
I think we do it every day.
So mail, the kids can write letters and they can put them in the mailbox every day. But we're gonna be delivering and sorting weekly. So they're gonna have a delivery on Monday. So anything that's delivered by Friday, they'll be able to be sorted and delivered by Monday or Tuesday. Yes.
Thank you guys. Oh, Justin, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll let the students off the hook for a second, but can I say something about Ms. Teitelbaum real quickly? For the board, you just saw what happened right there. That is an example of a Timberlane educator. You saw her maneuver those kids tonight, support them, allow them to be able to speak, cue them when needed. Like that is the example of how what we do in this district. So really well done.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, all of you. All right, thanks guys, have a
I
good
think they
evening.
might have some mail for you as well,
We
right?
have some mail.
Delivery.
Come on up and pass
Give all
it
the
out.
bills to her.
Shauna wants the bills.
They're already coming to my house.
Thank you, buddy.
Now, did the SAU building get its own roads?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good to see you.
What are you looking for?
We need a delivery.
Substantial.
Oh,
Right here, buddy.
What are you looking for, sweetheart?
There we go. Perfect.
Always only have great kids. This is terrible. There you go. I got $100 bill.
Oh my goodness, the monthly newsletter. That's awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Very nice.
That is so cool.
Very cool.
Right. Right. Delegates individuals, right now I just have the one, Marisha. Kiddos can come sit with you if they want to. Oh, you want to come sit? Come on. Right here. Good evening.
Good evening, sorry. My name's Marisha Kluzak-Sang. I live at 25 Greenfield Drive in Plastow. I was here at the beginning of September to talk about the bus company for a student and our troubles on our street with bus 104 and other buses. And I just wanted to come back and say thank you so much for all that you did. We are so happy, and there are no more issues as far as we can tell from first student or the bus. Amelia and Victor, my twins here, they take the bus 104, and they love Brian, and we are so glad that he's still our bus driver. And every morning, it's on time. Every morning we can count on it. So I just wanted to come back and say thank you to all of you that heard us and was able to do something about our predicament. And we're so grateful for Brian and for the bus company.
Thank you so much. Glad that's worked out
Thank
for you.
Thank you.
That's a unicorn.
All right, can I have the last 27 minutes of public delegates individuals moved to the end of the meeting? Moved by Shauna, do I have a second? Oh, wait, Bree made that motion, I'm so sorry.
I was just gonna say.
Sorry, Mark seconded, Bree made the motion, but Mark seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, what happens if we didn't do that?
Well, we have to by law.
I understand that. I just, like,
All those in favor? All right, everyone unanimous. All right, moving on, student rep.
Cameron Stack is not here tonight with us. He's excused. He's over at the Timberlane Players Performing Arts Center tonight. He'll also be performing Saturday afternoon. So good luck to Cameron
Oh,
this
good
weekend.
luck to him. Before we move on, Dawn, what's up with your fingers?
It's a long story.
No, we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a very long
Oh,
story.
okay.
oh,
I decorated them
Okay.
I found it, yeah.
Well, you put your hand up and I'm like, what has happened to his hand?
just so I get your attention.
Got
Edward
it.
Scissorhands.
You got it. All right. Sorry for the sidebar. Moving on, first thing of business. NESDEC, school year 25-26 enrollment projection report.
Mr. Pedersen is here to talk us through
With
this.
our charts?
All
right.
That chart.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So once again, I come with NESDEC report. This comes out twice a year, so I believe I was last time with you all in March to talk about at that time the NESDEC report, and then they come out with one in the fall. Then we compare that to the October 1st numbers because that's kind of the official. We use that as like the official enrollment for collecting data out of Power School. So I just compared the NESDEC report with our official numbers. They're very close. Their projections and what they projected that we were going to have, and then what we have is very close. I believe it's within about 18. Within 10 students of between the report and or what they projected and what we actually have. We as a district had been going down, but that was a trend across all of New Hampshire, across all of New England, across all of America actually. And then we have kind of leveled off. That's been for the past couple of times I've given this report. I've talked about how the NESDEC projection does have our district sort of leveling off. It was going down at a steeper rate, and now it's going down, but very much lower rate. And that's the same what's been happening again across. You'll see not in my report, but in the NESDEC report, if you dive into it, it's that same trend is happening across America and New England and New Hampshire. That there was a bigger decrease, and now it's a less of a decrease. The other piece that I just want to direct your attention to is that last page of my report where a previous board asked me to start looking at over the years, how does the NESDEC numbers and projections relate to what actually has been happening in Timberlane? So I believe I started doing this, and it looked so tiny.
A lot of data.
A lot of data there. I went back to 2003, 2004, and just started tracking data and looking at our Timberlane data versus NESDEC data, and they give about a 15 year window of projections, and then looking at how those yearly projections have related to our actuals, and looking at how if they've been higher or lower. Most of the time, NESDEC is reporting or is projecting lower than our actual, not by much. Usually, it's on average less than about 2%. But they, over the years, I've noticed that they typically are projecting a lower enrollment to our actual. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay. And so that report that you're seeing there is static, but it, in my world, I have it as a ongoing year after year, and then I have other tabs for every single town as well that I've been, because NESDEC gives you the report of each of the 4 towns and then the district as a whole.
Are all 4 of our towns kind of at the same rate?
It's
or
the
is
same.
Okay.
Generally speaking, they're all about the same.
Okay.
So there's no real blip in any one town either direction.
Anybody have any? Yeah, Mark, did you have a question?
I would have expected a potential blip in Sandown with the not historic, but certainly outlier of new properties that were approved and subdivision that was approved. We're expecting a good number of new families to be moving into. I know that members of the Sandown governance have approached members of the school board and administration with questions regarding that. Is that reflective in the new NESDEC numbers?
Are they still building that?
Yeah.
Are you
So no one's
highlighting about
moved in
the
yet?
No
difference
one's
between what's projected and what's actual, or if there are big jumps in any given year? Because that's 2 separate things.
Yeah, so I wasn't seeing any jumps in any given year, if that's what you're asking, Don? Yeah. The projected in Sandown in particular, I don't remember off the top of my head, because the report that I did for our executive summary was the district as a whole. I don't remember
Understood.
Sandown off the top of my head specifically, so I don't want to misquote the NESDEC report.
And I appreciate that.
But I can look into that, and I'm going to be coming back to the board, not in December, I can give an update specifically.
That'd be great. And the methodology, I mean, is it issued building permits, C of Os, how?
There's an explanation of their methodology, which I can summarize.
cool.
But again, I don't wanna misspeak about how NESDEC does
worries.
their work.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, if you could just bring that back when you're
Yep.
back for this, that would be
Yep.
great.
I can do that.
Jack and then Marianne, did you have something?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jack and Marianne.
So if I'm reading this right, you know, these are very small incremental moves, especially when they were going downward. And even left, and a lot of times what you hear a lot around the district is with a declining enrollment, we only need half the money, you know. If you get rid of one or two students in a building, times our number of buildings, it doesn't mean you can cut staff because you have one less kid in a couple classes. So this is always sometimes used to make the argument that staffing isn't proportionate to the students. And what I see here is very small incremental moves, which doesn't really equate to staffing changes. Is that?
That would be I think that's a fair assessment. I think that that's even a the same as in, an elementary school, because, 2 kids or 3 kids or even 10 kids, they could be over 5 grades.
Right.
Same thing at the secondary level, it could be over 4 grades, but, even 10 kids at 1 grade level, because of all the different classes that they're in, you're really not gonna see, you can't just start getting rid of teachers because of all the different places those kids are coming from.
And we've all been doing this long enough that is the constant drumbeat, and it's just not really applicable to what I see here in relative movement year over year, every 5%.
Marianne and then Don.
So it looked like when I saw the town by town, there was a page called additional information, which had K-12 non-public, which had NA, which means the information wasn't provided by the district. And choice in and choice out, I couldn't tell, some of those had numbers and some didn't. Is that information we don't have that we can't provide so that we could see if we have what the numbers are for K-12 non-public in particular?
Just to clarify, Mary, you're on page 14 of the actual report itself, or?
No, I'm on one of the pages that's listed as the executive summary. I don't know what page it is in the, I
It was
didn't
32
see,
in the packet.
I didn't see any page numbers on.
So on the right, Marianne, where you see it should say like there's 125 pages in this entire document, and the page above it look at that page number.
Let's see if I can get back.
32.
32.
Because I just shrunk it so I can't see anything at the moment.
Alright.
Let's do this. So I didn't see it at the district level, under, let's see.
While Marianne's looking that up, Dawn, why don't you go ahead and ask your question or
Well,
your comment?
If you look at it over the course of the last, say, 25 or 6 years, you might see at the high school that you are 400 or 500 people less than we had at that time. So there is a incrementally, year to year to year, you're not seeing much difference between the projection and what's in. But the downward trend over that period of time is pretty significant. So if you take a look at, how does that impact staffing? Yes, it does. Does it impact a lot of budget pieces? Yes, it does. So there are some things there that they're fair game for conversation, to understand, but they're not like immediate shifts.
Correct. And that's one of the things that that we've spoken about in the past, that John and I speak about, is that when we look at these trends, how low is it going to go, and what can we do in the future, and if we see that it is really just stagnating or going to remain the same, we make considerations of, well, we can't necessarily get rid of staff, or are we going to have to get new staff later on if we're seeing the trend going back up, things like that. So we look at this when we start thinking about our program of studies, when we start talking about course selections in January. So we at the school level, at least at the high school, speak for that, is that we start looking at these the NESDEC trends and just making sure that we are providing enough for the kids that are going to be there. And yeah, over time, you think about the high school went from almost 1,600 to 1,000.
Right.
But that took like 10, 15 years to get to.
Right, and over time, so much has changed in the world, and so much has changed about what schools are responsible for and how much it costs. So these things kind of collide at some point.
So what
Hold on, I'm gonna let Mary and she found her page and then I'll let
I
you
was
go.
just thinking.
No,
So
you're good, you're good.
Page 32 of our packet, it had, I think it's for Atkinson alone, and it had the chart. And it's 5 different school years, 9 to 12 CTE, then K to 12 non-public, that's the column that there's nothing in there. And then it looks like the choice in and choice out are listed, which I think maybe become more important as time goes on to start tracking that. But I thought K to 12 non-public, maybe we would have that information.
No, we don't
don't.
have that information.
Okay.
It's information we would like to have.
Okay.
They give us a total picture of the number of student, like age appropriate students in our catch base. That information is not available to us.
Just because no one's capturing it, or?
Well, I mean, if you think about if you have a child and they're going up and you're going to enroll them in a private school, there's no reason for you and no requirement for you to report that to the school district or to the state of New Hampshire for that matter.
Jack, you had a.
So I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. If I look at where we are today, the projection is out over the next decade to 2036. It looks like we lose about 50 kids at the high school. Because that's slightly below 900, let's call it, or slightly above 900, and then it's right in the middle at 900, halfway between 800
Page
and
you on,
1,000.
Jack?
My point is,
What
No,
page
what
you
page
on,
you're
sir?
on.
Oh, the very
The very first page of the
very first
executive,
page.
of the executive summary.
Yeah, very first page, the high school line. So it looks like we're gonna lose, the projected is roughly 50 people. Now, my guess is that the trick is to figure out where those 50 students would have been, like, that's spread out over, that loss is spread out over how many classes do we have at any one given time in the high school, times how many different subjects, times it's almost, it is no dramatic, and that's over a decade, that's over a 10-year period, a reduction of 50 students. So my point in all of this is if there was some dramatic swing we would see here number wise, you would have to make adjustments, but I don't even know how you would guess at that at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't think it's even possible to figure out,
It's not.
I mean, if you knew that they were all 50 were gonna come from 9th grade and all 50 were gonna come from, kids who wanted this class.
Yeah, no, it's.
But there's no way to predict that. And like I've said, that the past couple of years that trend line of the decrease has been getting flatter and flatter. And if you look at the projections, that trend line is gonna be flatter than it had been in the past, where it was a little bit steeper of a decline. It's just we've leveled out.
5 kids a year.
Yeah, and I mean, any given year, you could have 10 kids enroll.
Right.
On day one.
Any more questions or comments on the NESDEC report at this time? All right, sounds good. And so you'll be back in December and you'll give that information. Okay.
Add it to my things I'm coming to in December for.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, and then you stay in for the overnight field trips as well?
I am.
All
yes.
right. So we have two.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Looks like we have two. Is that right?
That is true.
All right. So the first one is student council.
Yes, let me just
Yep, you're good.
get to it. I have to scroll through all. The student council, they are looking to go to attend the New Hampshire State Fall Conference at Waterville Valley. This is a leadership conference for the student council members. It's with other New Hampshire schools. They hear speakers, mentors. They get together with other, like I said, other schools, but other student councils, and it's always been a good time. Kids always come back to it with a lot of good ideas and a lot of good connections with other schools. It's November 13th and 14th, so it's an overnight, and so we need board approval for that.
move that we approve that annual trip to the Black Bear Lodge Student Council, because it's been valuable over the last 30 years for us, and then I see no reason to stop supporting it.
Motion made by Dawn and seconded by Jack. Any questions or anything about?
I
Yep,
don't have a
Shauna,
question, I
and
just
then-
wanna make a statement, so just to make sure, so students are self-paying
They are.
a $250 fee. So it's $200 for the conference, $50 for the bus, which is really clever that you're sharing the bus for Samron High, so thank you for thinking outside the box on that. And is this something that students have typically paid before, or is this a new?
I think it's gone kind of back and forth with how many other conferences student council's going on, all the different activities the student council does. I do know that they are gonna try to do some fundraising for it. So I can't speak to a historical on because I feel like they go on a lot of different events and trips, and which ones they've paid for out of pocket, which ones we've covered, or which ones other people have covered, so. This one just happens to be because I think they wanna put money towards some other things that they have coming up. And so this one, the students are gonna self-pay, but like I said, I believe they are trying to do some fundraising for it.
Thank you.
Did you have something more?
That was essentially what I was going to ask. And the $200 for the conference fee, does that include the lodging?
I believe so, yes.
You know, over time, they have always done fundraising to offset the costs, you know, and then there's sometimes been student activity funds that were made available. You know, they've come for help a few times, you know, but it's really how successful they are, you know, in, you know, year-long activities and putting together, you know, what they need for ongoing events.
Any other comments or discussion on this? All right, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. All right, and then the next thing is gonna be the Outdoor Adventure Club.
Yes, this is a relatively new club that's definitely taken off with popularity with students and adults. And they are looking to do a 2-day, 1-night hike on December 6th into the 7th up to Crawford Notch. I believe it's gonna be, I don't know how many students yet. I don't know if they have 9 students and 5 faculty is gonna go with them. So it's gonna be a winter hike. Maybe the snow will fly up there. I think there's actually snow flying right now.
There is snow flying right now.
So, but this has been, you know, a good partnership with a couple of different grants that they've received. They've received grants from the AMC, the Appalachian Mountain Club, and they had a previous grant from the National Energy Education Development and that's gonna cover the cost of the transportation up there. The AMC is donating or getting those kids with all the equipment, all the outdoor equipment that they need at no cost. So it's really it's a great opportunity for these kids to get up and hiking with very little cost to the district.
There's another donation forthcoming for some equipment there too. Talk about it next time.
Do you all, what do you all do about the safety? Because I know up here in New Hampshire, it's different than when it was down the Smoky Mountains, but you buy like the safety, so if you have to get rescued, it's covered. Do you all-
The safe hike card.
Safe hike
Do
card.
you all do that for this club?
One chaperone is certified first.
No,
It is first responders.
They say,
No, this
I know,
is-
I know
you
what
know
you,
what I'm
I know,
talking
I know
about,
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do not know off the top of my head if they provide that,
Yeah.
or if we get that for the students. I
Yeah.
can look into that. That might be covered, it might be something that's covered by the AMC
Okay,
because it's their gear
okay.
that the kids are using, but I can look into
Yeah.
that.
Just because like if you don't have that and you need rescuing, it's a big bill.
It can be a big deal.
I mean, I
yes.
don't want them to get rescued, have to get rescued anyways, but it's just something to look into.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just hope that our chaperones are smart enough to not put those kids in that
I would hope so too.
Well, I know at least one of your chaperones is very experienced in this, has been in the mountains a lot and
Yeah.
and knows a bunch about this, and the equipment he was talking about and how they're going about this is pretty thorough.
Good. Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
So explain, is that a card like that will find you if you're
No, so what it is like it's for any hiker that goes up in New Hampshire, any of the thing, it's pretty much like insurance, yeah, like if you get up there and you get in trouble and you need to get help and they have to come and rescue you, that you don't get a bill for it because you paid the $25. But if you don't have the card, you get a massive bill
So-
for the resources you used.
okay, I get it. So I wanna make sure, once you find out, let's make sure that those kids and staff have that
Somebody has it.
that card, or we should, I think would be a wise thing to support.
And they'll typically only charge you if you're
Negligent.
negligent in
Blatant- blatantly
preparation.
negligent.
But it's a good question to ask, is AMC or somebody along those lines
My point is, if they're not, we
take care of
should.
that?
If they're not, we should. Does that make sense?
Does someone wanna make a motion to approve this? And then we can have
Make a
some more
motion
discussion.
to approve the outdoor adventure club's overnight trip on December 6th and 7th.
I'll second that.
Alright, motion made by Shauna, seconded by Paul. Any other discussion? I just wanted to get that out there before we keep talking. Yeah, Marianne, go ahead.
How do we include that we want the safe hike to be part of it? Cause
I don't think we need to, but Mark, go ahead.
I would vote for this one way or the other. The parents are
Yeah.
involved, the guides are, pseudo professional guides. At some point, even if it's not included, I would still be supportive
Yeah.
of it, one way or the other. If you feel different, then that's a discussion we should have if members feel different.
I'm supportive of it, I just wanna make sure that they have that.
Nice to know.
I'm going
Cool.
by my son who told me that responsible hikers all get this.
I had a buddy who was stranded on the face of Old Man in the Mountain overnight. He did not have it, he had to pay. I'm willing to bet more responsible minds are leaving this up.
I'm trying to look it up.
And they publish it.
He's a
I
friend.
might be able to have an answer before the next presentation is done.
And they publish the reports on this, so every time they do a rescue in the Whites, they publish a report. And they say if the person was negligent, like just went out in tennis shoes and shorts, they said, we are charging them, and they put their name right out there and everything else.
So they shame
but-
them.
So it's public shaming too.
Yeah, there was a gentleman from Hampstead, not long ago. But yeah, but if you're generally prepared and well thought out,
It's a public service.
That's good to know. Alright, so a motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Alright, all those in favor? Opposed and abstain? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Did you think it was going there tonight?
I prepare for whatever things might go. I've been presenting in front of boards long enough.
this is awesome. That would
This really is.
I'll be in South Carolina.
Just gonna say, yeah.
Alright,
I just bought a bunch of microspikes. It was like $1,300, but
You're in the car.
Walmart.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Nice.
alright, while Dean is getting the computer ready, it looks like Mr. Krieger's gonna be presenting on the full day kindergarten.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is exactly what I have to do.
Hold on a second. Alright, go.
Alright, so last meeting, we were here and I walked you through two questions that you had, and first was what was our current model. I'm gonna do that again tonight briefly just to remind everybody and bring everyone to the same understanding.
Yeah.
I also presented the fiscal impact of moving the full day. At that point, we didn't have concrete numbers, but I certainly presented a methodology to you. I'll do the methodology again tonight and we will accompany numbers. And by the end of tonight, we'll have an identified cost of moving the full day to consider. The third thing you asked me at the last meeting to bring back to this meeting is when I'm done with the fiscal piece, I'll invite Ms. Kanotis up to the table and she's going to have a couple slides, talks about the benefits of full day. It's really going to focus on time and we'll get to see schedules, how they differ between a full day student schedule and a half day student schedule. All right, current model, 2 pathways. Tuition-free half-day program and a tuition full-day program. Those are the 2 pathways for families currently in Timberlane. We reviewed enrollments last time. I do have some new information to report to you now that we have the NSDEC report there. But again, this is like the last 4 years of actual enrollments for kindergarten. Highest was 244. NSDEC is putting us at 238 next year, 233 the year after, 210 the year after that. And then what I see as the NSDEC report specific to kindergarten is low 200s for the foreseeable future. Our current model, here's where the staffing and the pieces in the budget come from. We currently have 12.5 full-time K teaching positions, 12 full-time equivalency K paraeducator positions. We have a transportation contract that gets the kids to and from school. It's supported through the facilities budget, the curriculum professional learning budgets, and the elementary school budgets. If we change the model, I presented 3 things that we would need to consider, and I've added a 4th since our conversation 2 weeks ago. First thing that will happen is that we'll lose tuition revenue. I'll identify that for you tonight. We will gain adequacy revenue. I'll identify that number for you tonight. I'm going to assess staffing numbers, and this recommendation will come with a staff reduction tonight. And we're looking at adjusting transportation numbers based upon the need to not have a midday bus if the district moves to full day K. So here is the calculation of the methodology for the loss of tuition revenue. On the left-hand side are numbers I presented to you 2 weeks ago. These are the actuals from fiscal 25 and also fiscal 24. This was the tuition collected for full day kindergarten in the district. If we're looking to map out what the district would potentially lose in tuition revenue in fiscal 27, I'm starting with the number of total projected kindergarten students. We have a capacity next year in this model to accept 240 students. I'm removing 70 of those students from that total, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is that's the number of projected half-day kindergarten students based upon our historic percentages that we would not be receiving tuition money for. And there's a number of projected tuition waivers the district has engaged in over the course of its history. Things related to special education, free reduced lunch. There's also policies in the district that allow staff to attend. That lands us at a number of 170 total number of projected full day K students. If the tuition remains at $4,500, which it has in this district for a long time, that would look as a net loss for the district of $765,000 of projected revenue that is really targeted to the actual kids that would be in our building that the district would not be taking in fiscal 27. We also would gain adequacy revenue. Again, we verified with the New Hampshire Education Department that additional per student one-time grant is at $2175.50. I've also verified with the department that number 170 would be a conservative estimate of our multiplier for that year. Again, we're paid in arrears for adequacy, so they're looking at our current enrollments, backing students out that you saw me back out in the previous slide, and this is the additional number of students that will qualify for that grant, totaling $369,835. One step forward in fiscal 28, you can see the base adequacy will be $44.39, which is really almost equivalent to the $4,500 of tuition that Timberlane currently charges in our current model. We also assess staffing. We are currently at 216 students this year in fiscal 26, despite the model that we run. That's that split model. If we move to a full day model, we could reduce a half-time, full-time equivalency teacher at the kindergarten level. That would be a savings of about $50,000 to the district and still allow us to maintain 12 full day classrooms, taking in 240 students. We also could adjust transportation. If we stick with our current model in fiscal 27, that bus rate is $102.99 for the midday bus. We run 4 of them to the 4 schools, 180 days, $74,152.80. We went to the full day model next year. We would not need to run those buses. So we're looking at that money as a cost savings. And putting all those numbers together so you can kind of see where we land. We start in the whole 765 with the loss of tuition revenue. We gain additional adequacy revenue. We gain the reduction of a half-time kindergarten teacher. We gain the savings of the midday bus. And I can identify for you a cost for kindergarten if the board wants to move there at $271,000, or $271,012. Before we get into the benefits and pieces, are there things that people wanted to go back and look at specific to the fiscal matters before Lucy comes up and talks about time and schedules and such?
Could you delve into the $50,000 for reducing a half position?
Absolutely. So if we look at here, we've got 12 and a half kindergarten teachers working right now. And again, we run a half-day model. So some of those folks are half-time people. If we move to a model with 240, which is, I think, the responsible fiscal thing to do, as opposed to building to a model of 260. We built to a model for 240, I do not need that half-time, full-time kindergarten teacher. If we built to a model for 260, I would need to be adding a half-time FTE to make that whole, to be able to have a classroom with 20 more children. As I see the NESDEC numbers, next year is the challenge, and we'll see kind of where we are. But after that, I'm real confident, and we would approach it like we would approach any other grade levels about enrollments. Potentially, we could have situations, particularly that first year, we may have a kid at Atkinson that needs kindergarten, but there's space at Pollard for that student for that year. because it's whole classes, right? We don't wanna run a whole class of 8 or 4. We wanna maximize resources like that. But in my mind, this is the fiscally responsible method to go.
And that would give you the flexibility needed. Currently, 216, we have 12.5, projecting 240, going down to 12. But because of that shared burden, you're comfortable with those numbers. Okay.
And
Oh.
then,
Sorry, mine was the same question as Mark, so it's okay.
Jack and then Shauna.
So how many kindergarten classes do we have per town?
So if we look here, Jack, up on upper left quadrant, 25, 26, those are the number of kindergarten students. I could give you kind of a rough estimate there. You're looking at, so we look at Atkinson, we got 50 full-time kids. You have, absolutely, it's gonna try to do some quick math.
I wasn't, I knew someone in the room would have that
Of
answer.
course they do, and it's not me.
At Atkinson this year, we have 3 full-time kindergartens. Usually we run 2. This is a bubble year at Atkinson, so there's 3 full days and a half day there. At Danville, we are only running 2 full-day classrooms this year. We didn't have a need to run the half-day program. Pollard went down this year, so we have 2 full days and a half day. They are maxed and certainly we were on the edge of 3. And at Sandown we have 3. Last year we had 4, so we went down in Sandown for full day and then we have a half day.
Shauna. And then Bree.
Sorry, I was trying to catch it with the half day the half position reduction, but now I gotta bubble back to that. Sorry, friends. That $50,000 estimate includes both the teacher's salary and potentially retirement and benefits costs.
It's a good estimation of everything all in for that.
Thank you.
I was more bubbling on that. So what I'm hearing is that the demand really isn't there for half day since these classes aren't filling up. If we're not running it at Danville, we're not running it at Atkinson, and we're only running it 2.
Yeah, we only have 3 half day programs. None of them are full.
Great. Marianne.
So on the savings of the transportation, how long have we been providing a midday bus?
I believe this is the first year we're providing a midday bus.
And are there 4 because there's Danville kids in, because there's no Danville half day, so is there 1 bus per school or 2 buses for one of the schools?
I believe one school has 2 buses.
One school has 2 buses. And all the busing could be accommodated by buses that are already running at the beginning and end of the school day.
We do believe that it can, yes.
All right, any other questions about what Justin talked about before we move on? All right, go ahead.
I'll hang up with you.
So as Justin said, really, I want to bring it back to time. The amount of hours in 180 full school days, I want to put on record that I know we have 6 half days, so there's 12 hours to come off of that. But our full day kindergarten students receive 1,215 contact hours in a year. Our half day kids have 495 contact hours, so not even half, much less than half. And I will point out that anytime we have a delayed opening, half-day programs get canceled, so they lose the entirety of their day. So really, that number, the time is where we want to focus in. And I just want to point out that with time, it's not just time being there, it's purposeful time. So there is more time for instructional delivery, which you're going to see on the next 2 slides. Full day kindergarten students have access to unified arts, so they have art and music and PE, and they go to innovation and they do crazy things in innovation. They also have library. They receive more time. You'll see on the next slides that we do have a priority in Soft Start that all students receive, and that's half day as well. But our full day students really have that increased time to build safe relationships and a community integration with the schools. They get to know more adults. I have heard from some staff who've moved buildings, the differences in buildings, and how in some cases kindergarten does kind of feel like its own little place in a school. So I think, acknowledging that by more hours in the day, more time in a school, more time to connect with people, students are building connections with both adults and peers. There is depth in instruction. You heard when we came last year, we really focused on how much time is needed to develop reading and math skills. And in our half-day programs, we're really doing our best to deliver the instruction we need to deliver, but students don't have time to practice and come back for second opportunities that same day. Oftentimes science and social studies is integrated in really quickly, maybe with a book and a conversation, but there isn't time in a half-day program to deliver instruction in those areas. Increased social development is also a piece. So when we look at, and I know these are kind of small, these are just the next two slides are just two examples of what our current staff sent when I said, can you send me your schedules for the day? You'll notice that in both half-day and full-day programs, as I said, we have prioritized at the elementary level the idea of soft start, the soft roll-in, connecting with students, getting kids ready to start the day. But because we commit to that, we do lose time in our half-day program for instruction. We really focus in half-day about building strong phonics and math. And by the time we work through snacks and all of the breaks and all of those things, it's really difficult to get in a lot of the other content areas and depth. Our half-day kindergarten teachers are still functioning in trying to meet New Hampshire standard expectations, which are not different for half-day kindergarten from full-day kindergarten. It is the same curriculum, same expectations, and as many of you are aware, New Hampshire has a play-based law that expects that our students are learning through that exploratory, guided, structured, independent play. That's really hard to balance getting academic content delivered as well as allowing for that child-directed development. So you see there's an example there, and following up a different example, different classrooms, different structures. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to less than half the time for our half-day students.
Jack, come in.
So one of the things I think about is how many of these half-time students would go full-time? In other words, some of them kind of like the half-day, and then how many students do we track how many students are left behind that can't get in or would like to be in the program or don't have the resources to get in? We quantified any of that?
What I can tell you is that last year when we did the listening tours, we did not hear from parents who were wanting half day. We heard from parents who had to go to half day. I was fortunate enough to take on the role this summer of registrar for Pollard School, which is a really interesting experience for me because I received a different perspective, and I talked with a lot of families who wanted full day, but when we came down to we need the deposit and the paperwork, they switched to half day because they couldn't afford it.
So what is the cost for somebody to go full day now?
$4,500.
So $4,500 for about 150 families or so?
I think you're what, 170 was your
170?
Yeah, in terms of the projection, 170, yes.
So it's a significant savings for an entire school year's worth of people that go full time. They don't have to then pay that. In addition, it allows those parents who might have had to stay home or curtail work or make some other adjustment to, the burden of that. Now it frees them up, to do some more gainful things for their family. So this is a boon for most parents already moving forward, and an improvement of the educational opportunity for all the rest. So I just see it as like tremendous that it would only cost us, well, under $300,000 to make that tremendous gain for so many families and for all kids.
I know we talked about classroom space in the past and that we can outfit these classrooms, but what about like lunchtime or in the unified arts, if we suddenly add in these students, how would that look?
I see it the same as every other year where we might add a third grade class at one school and so we adjust the unified art schedule. Danville is typically the only school who can take advantage of if I have 2 classrooms in a grade and 3 classrooms in a grade, I can use that same block for UAs. All the other schools have 6 different UA slots, which means we have 5 days to can go up to 5 classrooms and we're not projecting 5 classrooms in any school.
And lunch space is okay.
The math you did, Dawn, was interesting. I have heard from 2 parents who had signed up full day and, during the end analysis, they were not able to swing it. One of them were saying, yeah, I was tempted to do it, hoping to get a job to offset it. I know it's good for my kid. And earlier on, I was familiar with some studies that took a look at the economic benefit of offering full day K to the community in general, because it does give that flexibility to family, to that stay at home parent to do something else to actually offset and to try to catch up with their bills. It gives them more flexibility. So the benefits are community-wide. They're disproportionately toward those families who are struggling the most. So there's a little bit of irony there, but it does help equalize the system for those families who are financially struggling the most, both for their kids and giving them the ability to have more financial flexibility in gaining employment. There's a lot of data out there. Look it up.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Justin or Lucy at this time?
Going back to the numbers, you put this back up. Do we get any adequacy for kindergarten students now?
Yes.
Is it half because we only have a half program?
That's correct.
Mandatory or so the kids who are in full day kindergarten still only get half adequacy from the state. And so what you're projecting there is the additional.
Adequacy, right.
The state provides a one-time, half-time adequacy, one-time startup grant that's non-competitive to help districts bridge that gap between the year that they are existing and the year that they want to begin operations. And following that, you would see in this slide, Mary Ann, the adequacy then becomes whole for all K students moving forward.
Don, go ahead.
Justin, do you know how many schools in the state or districts in the state are yet to adopt full day, tuition free?
I know it's single digits. I know it's less than 5.
And last year, I think it was, I did recall it was 4 last year.
I believe it's 3 this
I
year.
was on the
It's 3
ballot
this year.
for two districts. I don't know what they did.
I think one got it, so
One got
it's
it.
3
So
now.
we're down, into a precarious situation. And my situation over time has been, disbelief that we were so backwards thinking about this. The states around us are in a better situation for this, and we worry about, how competitive our kids are, and I just like to see them get the best possible start across the board. And I'd hate to see things be inequitable, so that, the haves, the people that can afford it most, get the better shake educationally. It goes against what public education is designed to be.
So, quick question. Do other states, like, I'm assuming Massachusetts, it's mandatory, or does it go municipality by municipality?
It's like state by state, like Tennessee, the state I'm from, like it's mandatory.
Right, and like the New England states, where's Vermont sit on this? Where does Massachusetts sit on this? I guess in Rhode Island, it's probably mandatory.
Well, a lot of places, it's just what kindergarten is. It's what all kids do.
Right,
It's not a matter of mandatory.
I guess the easier way to ask the question
Do you
is,
have to send your kid to kindergarten? In New Hampshire, probably not.
I'm just, Like, I
Is it
guess the
unheard
easier
of
way
in
to
some
ask,
states? Absolutely.
the easier way to ask the question, is there another state out there where it isn't mandatory?
Oh, like the
To
New
your
Hampshire
point,
model.
to your point,
Like to
Dawn,
provide it.
I'm trying to say, are we the only state where it's not mandatory?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt it. There's probably another state somewhere, you know, make the same mistake.
It's not Tennessee.
No, it's not.
Good judgment.
Did anyone else have any other questions at this time? Mary, go ahead.
What are the next steps?
That's what I was gonna ask this group. What would you like the next steps to be? What other information can I gather? What can I bring back to help the board?
Well, I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
I would move to the board direct the superintendent to initiate the planning for the 2027 school year to be full day kindergarten tuition free for everybody.
So I think what I'm hearing is come back with what would it look like for us to move forward with that.
So
Whether it's a warrant, it's gonna have to be a warrant article.
so the pathway to how to move toward full day kindergarten in fiscal 27.
Yes.
Yes.
We can absolutely provide that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
The only other, and I think I asked for it the last time, is there any data, and I think it falls on common sense, but is there data that indicates what happens if you and try to make a compelling argument, the advantages of the kids being in there, for me, it's some kids probably don't know how to put on a jacket when they show up on the first day, and others are reading, and so is there anything out there that
I
we
think
can
what I would
point to?
say is we have field data, right? If you look at the research, the first time that state assessments are typically given are third grade. So the research and the data that's out there is at that third grade level reflecting back. I feel like looking at our field data and what our teachers say is that, sure, there are kids who go to half-day kindergarten and come in ready, but the majority of kids are in half-day because of less social opportunities and less opportunities outside. They typically stand out in their first grade classes. We heard that a lot in the listening tours, that from school counselors, from teachers, that teachers can see the difference in students in that first week of school between who is in half day and who is in full day.
Thank you.
Mark and then Marion.
I know from working with Mr. Pedersen in the past, we look at some studies, there are nationwide studies, there was a very large one done in Canada. They're almost Americans, that took a look at the matriculation rates between first grade and second grade and third grade, and the success of those students who did go to full day as opposed to half day. So I think he has that data. So that has been studied, both in this country and pockets, and I know nationwide in Canada. The data's there, it's compelling.
I asked that question because if we're gonna go down this road again, and we've failed so many times at it, it's about making a compelling argument, and I think the best compelling argument is the advantage to the students, because that's what we're here to do.
Marion.
Is there iReady data that can iReady be split out that way? Cause that's an assessment that's done at all grades.
That's a good question.
We could certainly do it.
that
We
be
could
done?
cull the data and separate it and see if we could look at it that way.
I think one thing to remember is that we do everything we possibly can to provide intervention, and with our half-day kids, we are often extending the day if we need to, which taps into resources that may be leaving at the half-day mark. It taps into other resources and other teachers to provide that intervention. So there's a lot that we do when we see we don't just let the student fall behind.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
And I bet there's plenty of intelligent people in the district that could probably figure out what pumping $765,000 into the local economy looks like. Plus, by not having to pay that money, and then for full-time kindergarten. Plus, you have a bunch of families now that can focus on other things that will, also go back into the economy, go back into local. Students are first, but you get a bunch of families that don't know how to make decisions now, like on certain things. Maybe, and it could be professional. It could be like, yeah, I can't go after this job now because I got to be, home or whatever. It's just there's a flywheel here of of goodness for the community, in addition to the primary one of the children, but just financially. I mean, what was it 200,000 in the end, 200 and some thousand netted out after the pluses and minuses?
271.12.
That's I think that's probably a negative number. You could probably have there's probably studies out there on that. We did it during COVID. We put money into the economy and all of a sudden Home Depot was sold out of everything. Like, cause people were like, oh, I got all this money now, I might as well, and I'm home. We saw what happens when you pump money into an economy for a short period of time, and I just think it frees up people to make better decisions, to decide between educating their kids for a year or not, or whatever. There's so much goodness here.
Yeah.
For everybody, even the people that might be on the board are like, I don't 200,000, you don't need that. I don't want to pay for it. I don't think we do. I think you could net that out the other way, that it would be a benefit economically too.
Agree.
When you come back next with the presentation, could you use that number? Because we understand where it came from, and then what it would be the cost in the district. So the 4 towns per $1,000, you know how we.
You mean a tax impact per town?
If it's possible to do that.
We will work to that end, yes.
Any other, yeah, Mark, go ahead.
There are 3 districts that do not offer it. Bedford is expected to offer it in 2025, so that will bring it down to
2. All right.
if you can trust Google.
What's the other one? Bedford and did it show?
Goffstown, I believe it was.
Yeah, and socioeconomically, those are different areas. You know what I mean?
All right, any other questions for these two?
Thank
All right.
you.
Alright, so
Thank you, we appreciate
pathway and
it. Yep.
tax impact next
Yep,
meeting?
that'd be great.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we got some policies and we don't have everyone, so we can't do the revocation, is that correct?
I can't do the revocation, but we
can
can
go
look
ahead
at
and
the
do the other-
second read
Okay,
of
alright.
the 2 policies that are before
Right.
you.
Yep.
So hello, back to speak to 2 policies that we looked at 3 weeks ago. Both of them I'm bringing minor tweaks that resulted from some questions that were raised in the first read when we last spoke about these. So the first of these policies is summer activities. And in our conversation at the first read, a question was raised, rightfully so, regarding the revision notes in the NHSBA model policy, spoke to edits to this policy to reflect changes in the new ED 306 rules that require districts to inform students about opportunities to earn credit through summer learning activities and career readiness activities in the summer. In looking back at the policy committee packet and the model policy that the policy committee voted to move to the board, it became apparent that there was a small clause that was mistakenly not copied over. So I did not bring this back to policy committee because I wanted to bring to you instead the revised language that was approved by the policy committee. So I'm going to read that to you right now. Okay. So at the end of the first paragraph of the summer activities policy, that last sentence should read, such activities may include a summer book reading list, attending an education-themed summer camp, engaging in extended learning opportunities, and other career readiness activities, or other activities that support student learning. So that small clause that says, and other career readiness activities is important given the update to the law, and it had not been transposed into your packet. So I am bringing that to your attention, that should be there based on what came from policy committee, and it's otherwise there are no other changes. So.
Any questions on either of the policies? Again, this is second read and adoption.
I also have a note for the second policy.
You just want to go ahead and talk about that one too?
Yes,
That
if we
one-
could restrict it to summer activities first.
Oh, okay, sounds
Or
great.
it's up to you.
No, that's fine, we can do one at a time.
Okay.
It's totally fine. Any questions about the summer learning policy?
Sorry.
No, it's okay, that's why we're doing this.
So now we're going to be engaging in an additional, I know we do this in the summer, but is the competency part of this? Is that something new or something we've always?
With regard to the earning of credit,
In regard to earning the credit, but what I'm trying to do is get my arms around this whole
Sure.
306, this this mandate by the state
Yes, so
relative to revenue, how much is it gonna cost us to implement this whole enchilada? And I guess I might as well start here with this, like,
Sure.
I-
So
We're gonna need additional
summer
resources.
activities, it possibly not. It's hard to predict that. We already run summer learning programs in the summer. We run credit recovery, which is focused on students recovering competencies. So we have programming that is already existent at the high school level that takes place in the summer that aligns to competencies. And so in theory, we're already in line with this. What's new in the 306s is this added flexibility on an individualized basis, student by student, could be small groups of students. But what's new is that students can now come forth with evidence from summer activities that may or may not take place at Timberlane. They may happen elsewhere. They could be involved in some sort of summer career opportunity, which is really the focus of this update. And that student then could bring to us evidence of, this is what I did this summer. I believe that my experience interning at, I don't know, a medical clinic this summer is in line with a Health One credit, and they would petition us to review that work. We are required to review that against standards that we establish. And so those standards will be our current competencies. So we would identify the course that they're petitioning for credit in. We would look at those competencies. We would look at more than likely what evidence that student presents. It could be a portfolio, could be a transcript from a summer course, could be a letter written by an employer at a summer career activity. And we would make the decision about what is that going to look like.
So what I'm trying to, I understand what this is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my arms around the entire policy that's been pushed down, for lack of a better term, on us.
Yep.
And I received a whole bunch of calls,
I'm sure
right?
you did,
I
yeah.
went back, I reviewed what you
Sure.
said 3 or 4 times, because it took me a bit to get my arms around it. And then it was pointed out to me that I think it's a constitutional amendment 28A that says if the state mandates us to do something,
Should be funded.
they've got to fund it. Now, I also was told that there are numerous ways that the state works. So, but I've also been told, and it sounds like you already know the answers, that they work around these nuances, right? So I'm saying to myself, if we're gonna need additional people to do this work during the summer, how do we fund that?
Very, very similar question, kind of feather tailing with that. I also had a couple people query me with some confusion as to, with the states requiring competencies to be awarded, acknowledged, evaluated, does that mean that we are doing away with GPA? My understanding is we were not. We were adding the competencies in addition to not doing away with GPA.
And yeah, so I want to clarify, we already report out on competencies. Everything that we are doing right now at the high school level, middle school level, elementary level is entirely competency focused. But we have been living in a world of hybrid grading and reporting for 10 years. So our current report cards, and this is not something new, we're not reinventing the wheel. Our current reporting system has traditional alphanumerical grades, 60 to 100%. Those percentage grades align to letter grades that calculate GPA. We have weighted courses, so AP courses get a bump in GPA. Accelerated is just like, we have non-leveled courses that don't have a weight for GPA calculation. That is not going away. We are more than likely not doing away with that. However, it will no longer be sufficient for a student who earns a 60%, right, a D minus, which right now is passing. That grade alone will not determine if a credit is issued to a student with regard to graduation and a diploma. So we have competencies, we assess them, we report out on them. There's alignment across some of the grades. Not every grade is competency driven, and not every competency assessment may be graded in a traditional method. So we live in both worlds. But to earn credit and to get to graduation, students have to demonstrate competency, which is a higher standard than a D minus at this point, right? So we are now expected to, all students have to demonstrate the level of proficiency for every skill and every competency that is embedded in every
Not just
course.
squeaking by with a 60.
Not just squeaking by with a 60 or averaging all skills across a course. So if a student might be highly proficient in reading literature and writing literature, I'm talking about an English course, but they are struggling as writers, right? They have to demonstrate competency across all of those different skills within the context of English or English language arts at the high school level.
You
And
can't
it's
just
no
read
longer
French at a super
sufficient.
high level, you need to be able to speak it as well.
You need to be able to speak it as well and understand it and
Right.
read it and all of the above. So
Also not just as well as they listen,
Right.
and it's based on rubrics, right? And
Yes.
it's based on,
yes,
indicators that would identify exactly where they are
yes.
on a skill level. So it's not like, just, they seem fine. But getting back to the finances of it, depending on how this goes over time, in the state telling us we have to accept up to a third of potentially of kids' experiences, and potentially even more if you have a mechanism with your superintendent to approve, even more kind of out of the box, types of ways to get credit. You're probably going to save money on the other end because you're going to have kids meeting their requirements faster to graduate. You're going to have more early graduation potential. You're going to have perhaps less of a need for some areas of elective course offerings. There are hidden savings that will come the more this becomes a stronghold in the kids' portfolio of courses. So that's hard to quantify, but it's not hard to imagine that must be true.
Did you have something, Bree? All right, I'm gonna let Bree and then Jack.
I was just wondering if you know of the Learn Everywhere program, does that cost money?
Not to the district. Most of those programs I believe are free, but they may not all be. I can't speak to all of them. That's entirely approved, governed by the State Board of Ed. So there are programs, summer camps, courses that can petition to be recognized and approved by the State Board of Ed for Learn Everywhere. That's completely independent from the district. So we would not be funding any of that. I can't speak to what the cost is for families, right? But we've been, I think about VLAX, right, which is
Virtual Learning Academy.
Virtual Learning Academy that is free of charge for all families and students in the state of New Hampshire. We have a longstanding process already in place at the high school where students are able, if we can't meet their needs at the high school, they have the option to enroll in VLAX free of charge. We've already have a process to vet those curricula against our curricula, determine credits and all of those types of things. So it'd be expanding those processes and systems across all of the other opportunities now and pathways that students have available to themselves. Yep. Do you want me to move to IK? Because this is where some of these other questions are addressed.
Jack had a question.
This is a very general question
Okay.
and might as well get it over with.
Sure.
So back to the impact to staffing, and as I dug into this a little bit, it was, you kind of got to train the parents to understand this. How much additional training for staff, teachers will be incorporated in this? I'm trying to get my arms around how much extra work this is going to be, if at all, because it sounds like we're halfway there, but we're not all the way there. But one of the points they made really was enlightening the parents as to what is taking place, and those are man hours, those are man days, or women days, whatever.
We certainly, as we move forward, especially around course registration processes, you all will be seeing at your first meeting in December, the first read of the high school program of studies. We just looked at it last night at the Curriculum and Assessment Committee for the first time. We're gonna look at it again at our next meeting. That is part of the educational process for families. It will not be the only thing that we do, but I just want to reassure that competency-based education, instruction, assessment, curriculum design, rubrics, reporting is not new to our district. It is not new to our teachers. It's something that we have been doing for upwards of 15 years. So from a training perspective, from a heavy lift for teachers, teaching requires a lot of flexibility and adjustment on a regular basis, independent of everything we're talking about. So I feel confident that our teachers have a solid foundation in this. Will we have to continue talking to them about it and engaging in conversation? Absolutely. I don't see that as a heavy list that's going to impact financially. It's something of what we're already doing. Educating parents through course registration, that's going to be part of what we're going to be digging into. Our freshman class will have their own program of studies that'll be different from the other classes next year. Educating parents and students about what are the required courses you have to take. That's going to be an ongoing process throughout their 4 years. There are diploma planning worksheets in the program of studies that will help families with that. Our guidance counselors are going to be meeting with students individually. Departments are having conversations about course changes, developing new curriculum units. All of those things are ongoing. And it's going to be an ongoing educational process for everyone, really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Every year before school starts, the parents of freshmen are able to come in to an evening that guidance and the administration put on, and courses are described, pathways are described, credit will be described. All the changes here will be discussed and questions are answered, and people stay after the presentation to get individual questions either scheduled for a meeting or even solved in a short conversation. We have a vehicle of informing, educating basically the community about that, so that they can take advantage. And there might be need for more of that in this type of a transition, even after the school year has started. But that's a good thing.
It is. Thank you for that. Hearing that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading adoption of policy IHCA, summer activities.
Second. Motion made by Mark, seconded by Shauna. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous? All right, next policy.
Thank you. Policy IK, I just wanted to bring to your attention, and this is something we did just discuss earlier this evening at policy committee. Another question that came up with regard to, and Bree asked about the Learn Everywhere section of this policy. So I'm going to draw your attention to, if I can find the exact page, I would like to give that to you. So in the Learn Everywhere section of this policy, which is section F, for me, that is on page 112 of your packet. If you were looking at the sum total of the board packet.
Yep.
In that section, at the bottom, or it's actually on the following page, it's in section B. That clause that reads, the district will accept Learn Everywhere credits for at least 1/3 of the total number of credits required for graduation. A student may petition the principal to allow for a greater percentage of credits, up to 100% to be allowed. That clause, specifically the first part of that, was raised at our last meeting with regard to the wording. And I went back, I did clarify that the wording in the law is verbatim what you are looking at. So that wording of at least 1/3 of the total number of credits comes directly from the law. At policy committee earlier this evening, we had a lot of conversation about, we felt that there was a lack of clarity in this wording. I think collectively, I don't want to speak for everyone on the committee, but I think the consensus was that we believe that the intention is that schools are required to accept at least 1/3 or up to 1/3 of the number of credits required for a diploma at the high school. So students enroll in these Learn Everywhere programs. Let's say they come to us, they have 24 credits required for graduation. They could come to us with 8 credits, and we would be required to accept those 8 credits and grant those toward graduation. Anything beyond that, that student could then petition the principal. That's our interpretation of this, but we felt that it was not clear. Our recommendation at policy committee was that we change the wording of at least to up to 1/3 of the total number of credits required for graduation. and that a student may then petition the principal, and we would have a process for that. So that's what just came out of policy committee at 5:30 this evening. It's not written in your packet, but that was the motion of the policy committee to move to the board for a second read this evening. So, okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
Sorry, I guess I'm just a little still confused if the law says at least, so at a minimum, but you're saying up to a maximum, wouldn't it just be, we're gonna accept a third and you could go more?
Correct.
So can't we just say it's a process for
We just for like 20 minutes in policy. 'Cause it's-
Yeah, if
it's-
policy members wanna chime in on this, go for it.
Yeah, it's just, we couldn't align on what that really means. I don't know if at least has some legal definition, but it basically says to me, and I think most of the group, that you will accept up to a third, and anything over that is, you can petition to get it accepted.
I think the district has some decisions to make, about what they think the balance has to be beyond that. At what point, I think you're very careful to make sure that they're getting an adequate background that fits our general program. So, I'm not here to set that number, but I think a third is a big leap right to begin with. That's a lot of concerted effort on a student's part to do programs and activities of merit that have been approved by other entities across the state. So the state is basically advising us to honor those commitments that these kids, went into these programs and were promised that this was going to fill the need for, some educational purpose that they'll get credit for. So we have to do that.
Yep.
But beyond that, I think we have to be very careful to make sure that they're able to have next steps that we can understand. So they would have to go through a process, we have to set up that process, and that could become a heavy lift at some point. But I think at least we see the plan kind of unfolding that way. It's going to take some time to reach that capacity. You're not going to see that, as an overload for several years. But, more and more all the time.
just for more clarification, because I'm still confused. So a freshman comes into high school and says, to graduate, I need all my credits. So you're gonna take a third of that number. Let me do it. And then you have a senior who has 1 credit to take, but can't do it because you can't take a third of a credit?
No.
We're required to accept up to a third of state-approved credentialing or credits through a state-approved program. We have to accept at least a third
Toward graduation.
toward graduation.
So if you can think of the accumulation of the number of credits that a student needs to graduate, we are required to honor and recognize up to a third of that numerical calculation toward the total number of credits
8 to
could
9
come from
courses.
Learn Everywhere programming. So if a student, those programs come with a transcript or a certificate that would have a credit. It could be a half credit course, third credit course. But when we look at our credits for graduation, if a student is going for
Can we just put that number in there?
It's in the program of studies, but
it'll be in the program of studies. Because we have different diploma tracks. Full disclosure, I
Can we
believe
just say
that
a
would
third of the
convolute it
program
or
of
even
studies?
more.
No.
I think it would convolute it even more, yeah. My opinion, your choice, my opinion.
Did that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah, Marianne, go ahead.
Yeah, I think saying up to 1/3 of the total number of credits and then having the plan makes it a lot more clear, so I appreciate that revision.
Make a motion to accept the revision as stated by our assistant superintendent.
second that.
Alright, motion made by
Mark,
Mark, seconded by Jack. You can add
this is for
something.
policy IK.
Alright, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? Thank you and your staff for everything, and policy
Seemed
committee
fun.
too for digging into this.
This really isn't a choice. I mean,
I know, but I mean, still,
You
they're
gotta
doing a
do it.
good job, and I know the district, whenever this came down from the state, we were already way ahead some of these other districts, if I'm not mistaken, so good job to you guys, so.
If no other questions, you wanna vote?
I mean, maybe. You don't gotta yell. Hey,
I didn't-
hey,
We
simmer
didn't know if
down.
you forgot, I said.
Simmer down, simmer down.
Make sure it's
Um,
official.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That was me. He did that through me. I was like, make sure we vote.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstain. All right. Fine, moving on to draft warrant articles. All right, recurring theme, but I think there's one that we wanted to maybe put a number with. Is that
Yeah,
correct, Justin?
A couple things I'll point out to you that are some changes in front of you based on some feedback that we've got from the district's legal counsel.
Okay.
The first is there used to be an Article 11 that was there. It was the general acceptance of reports.
Okay.
You will no longer see that warrant in front of you. We've removed that. It is not required or necessary. We then renumbered the articles.
Okay.
So looking at the capital reserve fund surplus article, this is now Article 11 in the packet. We're going to continue to talk to the district's legal counsel about that. There is some deliberations of whether we need to create a new warrant to create a new fund and cancel this one and revoke it, or if we can reword this current warrant that would be in the district's interest. So I'll have some more clarity for you around that, but know that that's still a work in progress. Article 13, or the old Article 13, we also removed. It was an emergency contingency fund. It was really a leftover predicated warrant from COVID. It no longer applies to us moving forward. And the last change in front of you is now Article 12. It used to be Article 14. This is the fund balance retention. The district's legal counsel has suggested the beginning point of discussion at 5%. And that's for the board to consider moving forward. But I'm putting that in there now for you as a placeholder to encourage discussion as the board moves forward with cementing the warrant for the voters in March. But those are the 4 updates thus far.
So it used to be 2.5%.
2.5%.
If, correct me if I'm wrong, but the board never, like, it was like a $500,000 that we had kept, I think, every year that we made a motion for. It wasn't even, I don't even think it got up to the 2.5%, did we? Does anyone know historically?
I can look back
Sandy?
some history for it, but there was a warrant approved for 2.5%.
Right.
There was then a warrant put forth by the board for 5%.
Correct.
That was revoked last year and
Right.
repealed. So that's kind of, right now, we're currently at 0%.
Right. Well, I don't think 5% is the right number because I mean, it just got revoked,
Isn't
so.
that how,
Go ahead.
isn't that how we paid for the boilers out of that? At one point,
The contingency?
From the capital reserve fund.
from the capital reserve?
Yeah, which there's still some monies in there, so certainly not a whole lot.
So I think we all agree 5% is too much. So what new number? Do we want to do 2.5%? Do we just want to do 2%? All right, Bree says 2. What does this board think? And again, we're gonna keep talking about this, so we can put 2 for now and then we can talk about more, but
Do we need to put anything for now, or is that?
I just think we should, if we agree that 5% isn't the
Right,
number, then we should at
right,
least
I agree.
take it out.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. What does the board feel about 2%?
I don't know, I have to take a look at it and listen to somebody tell me about what that equates to in dollars. And then think about what our needs might be that are predictable, see if that fits.
We can put together some historical information and maybe
Yep.
about future and put some dollars to the percentages so you guys can have a better understanding. We could do that next meeting because we're gonna be
Okay.
doing a lot of fiscal pieces the next meeting as well, so.
All right, so then it sounds like we're gonna take that 5% out and they're gonna do some stuff on what 2% would look like, is the board?
2.5, well, once we figure out any percentage, we can
Right.
extrapolate
Right, we
from
can,
there.
but 2% is the
Yes.
starting point. All right, and so you guys will bring that back. All right, any other questions about the warrant articles currently? Once we start getting some CBAs and everything like that, we'll start filling these in, but again, this will just continue to be a running theme until we get to voting. Anything? Justin, did you
Sounds
have
good.
anything else?
Nothing else there.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
We talked about this under new business, but I have a potential warrant article that I would like the board to consider.
Well, this will be a good place for it. These are warrant articles. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So we've been chasing and trust me, if I thought we could get to the top 5 places in the district, I mean, the top 5 districts, I'd pay over all our fields, but we continue to chase our tails on keeping up with the fields and keeping that, I mean, and it's just because they don't get any downtime. When we did the study for the solar panels, we realized we only had 2 acres of dry land back there in the trees.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
So what I'd like to do is at least get a budget number. And figure out those 2 acres, that's a soccer field. That's what it takes to do a soccer field. So I would call it a relief field, but it gives the other fields, you can stagger them year over year over year,
So
a time to rest.
what I'm hearing is maybe going down the path of a warrant article for money so that you could just do a relief field. Is that what I'm
Yep.
hearing?
Yep,
Okay.
and I think the first step in that is reaching out to the civil engineering's already been done on it. So that's a big step in the right direction.
So-
Now all we need is a budget number, and I think, there's some very capable people that could give us a real good budget number, but if we did that, I think we'd see the cost savings almost immediately. So I think that'd be something to explore now, potentially for a warrant.
Yeah, does
Is that
the,
a turf field?
don't even. How does the board feel about exploring this possible warrant article?
I think it's a fantastic idea. That a lot of the issues we've had with the fields, we've heard from both facility and coaches, they're just played. There's not much recovery time. This would allow us to rotate the recovery time a little bit and give the fields that need the most TLC without cleats on them a little bit of time to recover, except for perhaps game day, right?
I would just add that I've seen one team out there over the last 3 or 4 weeks rotate around the area, just because one area is so decimated. So they're trying to spread the.
They're being responsible, but they're on a small staff.
They are.
Yeah.
So.
All right, yeah, Bree, go ahead.
Just when we're looking into that, can you just consider, like, I believe cross country uses the woods a lot to run, and then where would they go? And
This is on the field, so
It's
this
not,
is an open area.
yeah, it's not in the woods.
it's not in the woods.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But yes, I know what you're meaning. Yeah.
We would investigate the impact to
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be
global
great.
operation,
That
yes.
would be great. I thought like he was cutting down trees.
No. Lumberjacking it, man.
Jack, that's another story.
Uh-huh.
Oh, geez.
Okay, all right, so it sounds like we'll get some information and bring it back and see if we wanted to, yeah, that's a good idea, Jack. All right, anything else with these warrant articles? Okay, administrators report.
Awesome. I asked Ginger to start with student services if I could, and then Sandy, and then I will conclude with you folks tonight.
All right, thanks.
Great. There are three things that I would like to bring to the board's attention this evening. The first is that the special education department will be going through a monitoring process this year. It's a pretty in-depth process that is months long. Will start in January and run through April. It's called the Special Education Program Approval and General Supervision Monitoring Process, or affectionately known as the PAGS. So if you hear me using that acronym, that's probably less of a mouthful. So there's a lot that the special education department is doing right now to kind of prepare for the process. There's a lot of writing that will need to happen. It'll involve meetings with stakeholders. There will be special education review of files across the district. We're considered what we call a tier 2. So the depth of the monitoring varies dependent upon how we fared in what we call an LEA determination. So we fared pretty well this year. So we're not going to be as in-depth as other districts might experience for this kind of monitoring. So there will be more to come, but there is a lot of focus on kind of getting prepared for this process coming up. Like I said, the discovery process will last pretty much January till April, and then we will get our findings and our review sometime late spring, early summer next year. So the other thing that I wanted to mention this evening is that the social workers and the school counselors have been working on a list of resources for families who may be impacted by the changes in SNAP benefits currently with the government shutdown. So they've come up with a list of food banks and soup kitchens that are within our sort of regional geographic area that have been put out there and shared out to families. It is on our district website, and Dean was kind enough to share it out on all of our social media sites. My understanding in talking with Dean a little bit earlier is that some of that information has been shared quite a few times. So I think it's been a useful resource, and I want to just thank those groups of people for working on that and always thinking about our families. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that we have a PD day coming up on Monday. We've got a really vast array of wonderful PD opportunities that are going to be provided to our families, our staff on Monday, to include a lot of trainings that will be sort of cross between regular ed and special ed. But I wanted to mention that NAMI will be with us on Monday, providing a post-vention crisis training for our school counselors, social workers, and some of our psychologists. Basically, this training will focus on preparation for should we have a crisis within the district. How do we respond to that? The district has what we call a TBART team. It's the Timberlane Behavioral Health Response Team that basically consists of our social workers, our counselors, who respond to buildings should there be a need for supports following a crisis. And this will just further their education and create more preparedness for how to manage some of those circumstances. And that was part of a grant that I talked about last time that I was here through the Exeter Hospital. So we're grateful for that. The other opportunity on Monday is going to be with a group called Friends of Anya, which is a nonprofit out of Manchester. And that nonprofit focuses on grief support for students who have experienced a significant loss. In this collaboration, the Friends of Anya staff will come and train our social workers, counselors, and psychologists on how to kind of administer and support kids around grief. But they'll also be providing every school with a grief backpack, which will have a number of different tools and things that they can use to help students work through some of those more challenging times. So we're also grateful for that collaboration. It comes to us with no cost. So we're always grateful for opportunities when we can expand our knowledge and the tools that we have to offer students with really no financial impact. That's it for me tonight.
I had also planned to talk to you a little bit about our Professional Development Day. So I'm grateful to Ginger for that introduction. And also just wanted to highlight a little bit, while we haven't talked about it recently, we are still working toward goals in our 5-year strategic plan that I believe we are in year 3. So in the learning area focused of the strategic plan, we had 3 primary goals. One was to roll out universal design for learning as an approach and a shift in mindset instructionally for how we as educators can think about identifying barriers for students to access their learning and that might unintentionally lie in the design of how we're designing our learning experiences. That was really the heavy lift of our work last year. We really leaned into professional learning around Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, as an acronym. We, this summer, and late last year and this summer, we had a group, it's actually more in the spring that we finalized this, we had a group of educators leaning into one of our second goals in learning, which is around multi-tiered systems of support. So if we think about UDL as being a way to strengthen what we do for all students and all of our, what we refer to as core or tier 1 settings for all students, strengthening that core is really our foundation. And this year we're moving into MTSS, which is focused on providing additional layers of support for students who may need a bit more, either in small group settings, in individualized learning opportunities. It's really focused on data and being very proactive and trying to provide support to students who might need more beyond the core. So we had a committee that developed a handbook for multi-tiered systems of support. We are rolling that out for the first time next Monday on our PD Day. We're really happy to be moving that work forward. So our day will be focused on UDL. We're not stopping what we had worked on. It's kind of the foundation, and we're moving into our next phase, which is really looking at other layers of support that we're adding onto what we're already doing. So that'll be the focus for the day. We have a variety of different workshops that are choice-based for our staff. Ginger spoke to a couple of them for counselors and social workers, but we also have some others that have more of an academic focus, and we're going to be joined by Katie Pagnotta, who's a consultant who's worked with us before. All staff will be attending a workshop around how to understand and promote mental health through a neuroscience, an approach through neuroscience, and how the brain processes things like trauma, how we can provide access and minimize barriers for students. not only through academics, but also through that lens as well. So that will be the focus on Monday. We're really looking forward to it, and we will keep you informed.
Thank you.
I have a whole lot of stuff to kind of talk through tonight. We'll talk some fiscal things first. So I think everyone at this table probably knows that the tax rates have been released for 2025 by the Department of Revenue and Administration. They reflect our voted budget. They reflect the ADM, or the number of students towns are sending, and they also reflect the evaluation. Just for purposes for this group, Atkinson for 2025 is currently at $12.82. That's a decrease of 10 cents or negative 0.8%. Danville for 2025 will be at $22.84. This is an increase of 73 cents or 3.3%. Plastow will see $14.44. It's a decrease of $6.28 or 30.3%. And Sandown will stand at $17.80. It's an increase of 8 cents or 0.8%. Sandown again, yep, $17.80. And again, that's reflective of the voted budget, the students that towns are sending, and the town valuation. We also have Primex. We have received our insurance rates, and not as a surprise, those are also increasing. Our property and liability is up 9% for fiscal 27. Our unemployment will be 4% increase, and our workers' comp is 1%. The dollars are small with compared to the total budget. We're looking at about an increase of $25,000 total dollars across those three bounds. Also wanted to give you an update on the budget committee. The budget number in terms of what we're going to propose or where we're standing at proposal certainly is going to come into more focus at the next meeting on November 13th. We've presented about 24% of the total budget thus far through programs, departments, and principals. We'll be presenting personnel on the 13th, again, upwards of north of 70% of the total budget. So I think that evening you can expect at least a proposed general budget number for discussion. I want to share with the board that I do not intend to bring any new additional positions to the budget committee next week. We will not be asking for anything more than we currently have in terms of the number of personnel. The board should expect to see the default budget proposal on November 20th at your next meeting. With regards to facilities, three things to point out here that are all on the good news front. We are now under contract with Warren Street Architects. If you remember, you've approved their work thus far. We had a little bit of hiccups kind of getting the contract in place, but it is in place. They're eager to work with us, and we'll be seeing what they draft up for the board to consider. Also, to update the board, we had the high school envelope walkthrough, or the enclosure walkthrough, that took place on October 28th. We had 3 vendors visit on site with us. Since that time, one of those vendors has dropped out. We have 2 very engaged and highly interested vendors that remain with us. I expect to receive 2 quotes from them, and we'll bring those quotes to the facilities committee for some interviews and some discussion. And the last thing with regards to facilities, I'll inform the board that we've relaunched the search for the director of facilities this week. I've written the advertisement myself. We tried to simplify the process with them about how they apply. We removed a lot of obstacles through the application process. They have a direct route to the superintendent of schools, and thus far we've received 10 applicants. We have posted it across a whole lot of areas. It's in the Concord Monitor, the Nashua Telegraph, the Boston Globe, the Eagle Tribune. It's on all of our networks, our social media accounts, the local television. Also contacted NESDEC. It's going to be posted on their affiliate jobs page and their contact list. We also submitted a right to know to the New Hampshire Department of Education School Facility Division, asking for the entire list of managerial contacts to the state of New Hampshire so we can advertise there as well.
Few satellites and out of space.
So I'll keep you updated on that search and where we land. 2 things moving forward, which I think are really cool. We're really exploring setting up a school board candidate forum that will be entirely led, organized, produced, and facilitated by high school students. So there are 2 school board candidate positions this cycle that are open. My understanding is the town holds forums for all elected representation. School board members are a part of those. I think it would be really advantageous for the kids to have something that's dedicated just to the school board. We could host it in a pack, be led by the high school, one of the club's organizations over there. These kids would organize the rules for that. They would solicit input from the community about questions. They'd solicit input from the student body from questions, and they would facilitate that discussion. So I'm working with John Vaccarezza right now, the principal of the high school, to see if that's going to be a possibility. There's lots of interest from some student groups over there, but that's the vision, and we'd be looking to hold that late February or very early March before the vote. The other thing that we're looking out for is I gave the chair a brief update on this, but we've had a lot of conversations with the retirement committee here in Timberlane. So these are the group of folks that organize and want to celebrate and recognize all the retirees that leave us at the conclusion of every year. They've got an idea that I like to support this year. We would like to bring that celebration here to the school board meeting. We're doing it for two purposes. One, we think it's going to increase the number of people that can celebrate these individuals. And two, it's going to really decrease the cost of the event, not only for the district, but for the folks that are attending to celebrate those people. So May 7th is the date we've targeted for that. We will be at the PAC for that school board meeting. I'll keep you updated whether we're going to start a little earlier or not. But really the vision is to kind of just recognize individuals by name, call them up, give them a small token, maybe a very few brief words, do that for the group, and then have the board take a very brief recess, go to a different area with these retirees and their families, and be able to recognize their good work for 15 minutes, a half an hour. We'd come back to the board meeting and conduct business moving on that way. So we'll moving that direction, and we'll see how it goes for this year. And lastly, I'd like to let you know I'm excited. I'm going to see the Timberlane players on Friday night. I'm going to bring my oldest son, Holden, who has confirmed a friend that he's bringing with him that evening. And I'm really excited to see it after reading Mr. Castanos' invitation. It is just, that's somebody that's working with our kids in this district and provides those opportunities. So I'm really excited to see our kids on stage Friday night.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys. All right. Personnel report. I don't think we have anything, correct? Okay. Moving on to committee reports. I'll start with Jack.
Well, nothing, but I would like to say that we have a CIP meeting coming up on the 10th. I think it's Monday or Tuesday, can't remember. What I'd like to do is have definitive relative to committees, dates set, and us stick to those dates. It just seems like, with facilities, we do have, I don't think we had a meeting in October. My understanding is we're not gonna have one in November.
November 12th.
I was told we weren't gonna have one. I'm just, that's what I was, so, okay, then that works. Then we're good. When'd you get that?
It's been up.
A lot of what went on in both the committees I serve, which is the the curriculum and assessment committee and policy, starting to revolve around ED 306 and the changes that were necessary in the scrutiny we had to give to a lot of different policies and the way we work. So it's been very interesting, and I think it's going to be another couple of board meetings before we get through what we have to get to you, come here for approval. But going through things pretty efficiently. Sandy's doing a great job of lining it up, teeing it up for us. So
Yeah, policy is always a good committee. You guys are, that policy is always really well ran and very efficient. I have nothing because Justin covered all the budget stuff. Go ahead, Mark.
Negotiation with TSSU met again. We met with ourselves and with the union counterparts. We are moving forward
It's good
in a
news.
productive way. You met with yourselves?
Shauna.
Just to add to the curriculum and assessment, we will have a K through 12 health curriculum update coming to the board at the next board meeting, right?
December.
December. Board meeting, and then also just to talk about the program of studies very briefly, which I know is Mr. Pedersen's passion. But there's going to be two versions of this program of study because the class of 2030 now has a new track of graduation requirements. So the amount of work that has gone into setting those versions up for 3 different graduating classes and a new one coming in is phenomenal. And I just want to commend all the people that are on top of those things. So thank you, Mark and Sandy and Lucy, for everything you guys do.
Also part of the 306.
I keep calling it the 603 because like it's New Hampshire. This is a little bit of a challenge for me. So that notice I didn't say the numbers, but and then Wellness Committee is meeting on November 19th for the first time. We meet 3 times a year, and then TAM negotiations. So we have met 4 times, and we are meeting again on Monday.
Wellness, CIP, Monday.
Paul.
Yeah, just in policy, as Dawn said, the 306 changes seem to be everywhere. So I'm sure CNA's all got a bunch of stuff, and you were just talking about it. And in policy, so you'll see coming to the board. We covered tonight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a pretty productive meeting. 6 different policies we covered, and you'll see a bunch of them coming up real soon for the school board. But a lot of good discussion, and yeah, a lot to keep track of there.
Yeah, very good.
Marianne?
So I went to the NHSBA delegates meeting, and that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Basically, I found that a lot of the resolutions that people were supporting were focused on local control. So advocating against one-size-fits-all rules from the states. And also I had mentioned, we signed that brief statement for the SAU Consolidation Committee. It was too late for me to get that, to actually do that in person at their meeting, so I submitted it as written testimony, but it was received by the committee.
Thank you. Alright, cool. Any other business?
Just kind
Don?
of a request.
Stepping on my toes.
No, I think about the impact of COVID and especially in regard to attendance. And I didn't know if we could take a look at, say, the first 5 years before COVID, what we averaged out on daily attendance rate at the levels, elementary, middle, and high school, and then since, to see if we have fallen off, if we're coming back, or where we stand, and then depending on what we learn from that, what we think the impact is.
It's about 19% now, down from 26%. A report just came out today.
That's national.
That's national.
I saw it national. I'm looking at Timberlane.
He wants Timberlane.
And that might be what spurred my curiosity, because I'd say,
I was like,
well, because there are people talking about the tremendous impact and how long it's taking.
yeah.
But they saw some growth in this past year in terms of some states, the numbers have come back a bit. So, but it's good to know what you're up against and where you stand.
Thank you guys, give us a number. Jack.
So I went to an event Monday night, and I was chumming around with some of my buddies, and one guy said, my son just bought a house in Bedford. My grandchildren are gonna go to the #1 district in the state educationally. And of course, my competitive juices got going, and my wife had a long ride home. And I just want everyone to know, I talk about facilities and fields a lot, but ultimately, in the end, we're an academic institution here for academia. And I would gladly call Brock's Industries tomorrow morning and go over all our sports fields if we could get close to that mark. And I never really hear it stated as an objective here. I think it's the goal we all strive for. But I'd like to see us, we have strategic plans and we have goals and we have mission statements. Somewhere in there, we've got to stop pointing our arrow to the top of that list and make it, have it our mission to be at the top in the state. So I'll leave it. I get calls about that. We all know we hear that occasionally. So I'd like to see that addressed, and I would gladly, like I said, I don't lose sight of why we're here. And the last thing I'd just like to say is Tuesday is Veterans Day, and it is a very important day for all of us, and for me especially. I had 6 uncles that fought in World War II, and I cannot. Those people we just have to honor the most, and I'm sure it'll get tossed around tomorrow at school. But we live in a very special country with very special people that make huge sacrifices. So I want to take a moment to thank them at this point.
Thank you. Any other business? Do you have to go into a non-public?
Make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3 subparagraph C.
Motion made by Shawna, do we have a second? Seconded by Mark. Can I get a roll call?
Yes.
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 There's no other delegates and individuals, correct? Alright, we will only be back to seal the minutes. Have a good evening, everybody. Board members take like